Today we're going to be talking about Teach Smart. Is it in focus? You can't see the author's name. That's very important.
We gave you all the link to a Google Doc that has a chart for all the things that we're going to be talking about. And so if you guys just want to be filling that out as we're going through all the components, that would be great.
Take lots of notes. You're going to learn. Our first teaching strategy is student first homework. It has 4 components. Component number 1 is mastery over grades. So mastery is more important than grades because students could be able to regurgitate a bunch of information and get a good grade on it, but not actually understand it. So a mastery-centered learning style would focus more on students actually understanding the concept rather than creating work that is graded. Component 2.
So the second component of student first homework is purposeful homework. To make sure that all of your homework that you are assigning actually is useful for your students. And you can determine this by asking yourself 3 questions. The first one is, will this homework help the students learn the skills that are deemed necessary in this lesson? The second question is, will this homework enrich students' current skills or their current knowledge? And the third one is, will this homework help you as the teacher have evidence as to student progress and where they are in the lesson?
Component 3.
Sorry.
Okay. The third component for student first homework is homework that is aligned with the outcomes for your lesson. So your homework assignments that you give should be directly aligned with your learning outcomes. So if your homework assignment that you're assigning has nothing to do with the things that your students should be able to do by the end of your lesson, then your homework assignment doesn't work and it needs to be reconstructed. Component 4. Whatever major.
You should have done that for 3.
Dang it! Oh, well.
So the fourth component of student first homework is feedback that informs all parties, so the teacher and the student. So feedback that is helpful for the teacher to make informed instructional decisions in the future and for the students to make informed learning decisions in the future based on how they did on that homework.
Good stuff. All right, time for strategy number 2, which is differentiate daily. Component 1. So component 1 is using multiple assessments to monitor your students' progress. You can do this in several different ways, such as pre-assessment. Ooh, we love pre-assessment. Also, daily formative assessments, which, because you should differentiate daily, is a very good option. And there's lots of different options that you have for these, such as electronic voting devices, exit slips, individual whiteboards if you're in a math class, high-level questioning, or like mentor-mentee activities as a partnership with a younger classroom or something like that. Component 2.
So the second component of differentiating daily is enrichment activities. So these are activities for the students who may not have understood the concept fully the first time during instruction. And so these are activities, like further activities to help them understand. And so there are several ways to do this, and 2 examples are having a teacher assistant there to help and maybe explain the concept a different way, or adjusting the complexity of the text so that the student can understand it.
Component 3. So the third component of differentiating daily is remediation outcomes that are aligned with your original standard. So this is not giving like makeup work for a standard that wasn't learned. So for like a big homework assignment that wasn't turned in, this is instead giving students another chance to make sure that they are aligned with the state standards and to make sure that they fully understand all the concepts that they're supposed to so that they're not behind going into the next school year.
The fourth component of differentiating daily is having pre-planned activities before you go into class. So knowing what you want the students to learn at the end, knowing how you're going to get them there, and knowing what you're going to do if there are students who do not understand, and having backup plans for that.
Before we get to the third learning strategy, we as English Ed students just want to take a moment to recognize the error in the title of the book. So the title is Teach Smart. Quick crash course in grammar. Smart is an adjective.
And teach is a verb. You do not use an adjective to further modify a verb.
No.
What do we use, Kristen?
Adverbs.
Adverbs.
Crazy. So, all together, class, what should the word be? Smartly!
Good job!
Oh, good work! Third strategy is give students the right to choose. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect I'm not a social studies major. I don't know the preamble of the Constitution. Component 1.
Oh, I forgot what we were doing. I'm so sorry.
The first component of giving students the right to choose is skills-driven assessment. So this means that you're teaching towards your learning objective that you set for your students. So you're giving your students the opportunity to demonstrate that they can actually do the learning objective. So you can do this with allowing students to self-diagnose with like an exit slip, or surveying your students to see if they actually feel like they understand the concept that you've taught them and like they can do what you've asked them to do. Component 2.
So the second component of giving students the right to choose is flexible product options. And so what this means is when you're assessing students, you want to give them multiple options on how they are going to present, or how you are going to assess that they know the knowledge. So instead of just taking like a paper pencil test, maybe they can do a speech or make a video or do some kind of presentation, make something.
Component 3. I wish, here's what I wish. I wish I would stop sticking my tongue out. I can't do anything. So the third component is flexible content. So allowing your students to study what they're interested in. So if students, for example, are writing a research paper in my English class, as long as they're meeting my content requirements of writing a research paper, I can allow my students to write about whatever they want. So that just allows students the voice and choice to decide what they want to learn about.
Component 4. So the fourth component of giving students the right to choose is having high rigor for all students. And so this means teaching a lesson that goes beyond the basic memorization of knowledge into like higher level thinking and to understanding, just like in Bloom's taxonomy, going up those levels.
Thanks for tuning in.
Those were 3 strategies from the book Teach Smart.
So don't forget to fill out that Google Doc. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like what you see, hit that little subscribe
Slam that
button.
like button.
Slam that like button.